Greetings. This is Mike Thomas, FAU's business mentor coach and executive in residence. As someone who spent a considerable amount of time as both a mentor and mentee, I can assure you that your participation in FAU's business mentor program is worthy of both admiration and praise. It's also worthy of the kind of support that helps you to maximize your mentoring efforts. The professional development material we've gathered and placed at your disposal in the Canvas platform will hopefully serve that useful purpose. And since you are the ones who will ultimately determine its true value, we should take a moment to review this material, which can be accessed by clicking on the FAU Business Mentor Program dashboard. Welcome to the BMP Canvas Community Room, designed for use in the FAU Business Mentor Program. There's a rather lengthy welcome message that follows, but if you read between the lines, so to speak, the point should be abundantly clear. Canvas is a learning management system, or LMS, which places relevant information and digital tools in one easily accessible location. And while a mentor's stock in trade is the wisdom of their experience, they can also add tremendous value by helping their mentee leverage the wide variety of academic resources available to them. Mentors can also use the Canvas Community Room to collaborate and engage in meaningful group discussions that are likely to benefit the entire Business Mentor Program population. Also note, most, if not all, of your Canvas engagement will be housed in the sections marked Modules and Discussions. Let's take a moment to examine what's contained in the Modules section of Canvas. As I scroll down the Modules section, you can see that there's quite a bit of content which covers a wide variety of subject matter pertaining to a mentee's educational and professional development. Whether in the privacy of your home or office, I encourage you to become familiar with each of these modules, as it will likely help to broaden your BMP mentoring perspective. In the interest of getting you started, let's take a closer look at just a few of the modules, starting near the top. The Business Mentor Program module contains the BMP webpage. Hopefully, most of you are familiar with this webpage, but for those of you who aren't, let's take a brief tour. BMP at a Glance is a brochure that provides the mentee with an understanding of what the Business Mentor Program entails. A video which provides additional information. Most importantly, measures of success. Here we have feedback from students who have successfully completed the Business Mentor Program. regarding the experience that they've had with their mentor. There's also a BMP at a glance brochure designed for prospective mentors. Here again, you have more measures of success. At the bottom of each page, there's information regarding how to contact me for anyone, be it student or professional who's interested in being a part of the program. The Mentor Credentials and Contact Information module contains a BMP Excel spreadsheet. The BMP Excel spreadsheet lists every active BMP mentor, their title, employer, expertise, and email address. It's updated periodically to reflect employment changes, promotions, and retirements. If you see something in your profile that needs to be updated, please don't hesitate to let me know. More than anything else, this BMP spreadsheet reflects the vast amount of talent and expertise that resides in BMP and the community that's been established. As in any community, mentors are encouraged to engage with one another, learn from one another, and afford their mentees similar exposure should the need or inclination ever arise. That's precisely the kind of community we can all be especially proud of. A rather impressive list, I'd say. The Career Center Resources module contains the Career Center webpage. Mentors and mentees alike should be aware of the resources available through the FAU Career Center, especially as it relates to upcoming Career Center services which are updated throughout the school year. Mentors should encourage their mentees to participate in events that support their overall mentoring objectives. The Adams Center for Entrepreneurship deals with entrepreneurial resources. Regardless of their major or career aspirations, most students at some point become enamored with the idea of being an entrepreneur. Why? Because it holds the naive promise of working without a boss and instant riches beyond their wildest dreams. But for those sober-minded students who are curious about a career as an entrepreneur, they should be aware of the Adams Center for Entrepreneurship and their initiatives, including FAU's Entrepreneurial Boot Camp. Here again, mentors should encourage their mentees to check out the Adams Center if entrepreneurship has a certain appeal. Last but not least, we have the External Resources module. Aside from providing access to the MentorClick platform, it is laden with a mixture of articles and videos that highlight the essential soft skills. Why? Because we have research conducted by Harvard University, the Carnegie Foundation, and the Stanford Research Center, all of which has concluded that 85% of job success comes from having well-developed soft and people skills, while only 15% job success comes from technical skills and knowledge or hard skills. To my way of thinking, hard skills makes it possible for you to land a job, while soft skills help you keep it and get promoted, which is the stuff that careers are made of. As you scroll through this module, you can see there are a number of videos that deal with essential soft skills. Let's check out a couple.
Yeah, I'm Corey Phelps. I'm a professor of strategy and organization at McGill University. I'm also the Associate Dean of Executive Education there. The book that I co-wrote with my two co-authors, Bernard Garrett and Olivier Siboni, is called Cracked It: How to Solve Big Problems and Sell Solutions Like Top Strategy Consultants. The inspiration for the book was really our MBA students when I was a colleague of Bernard and Olivier at HEC Paris. And MBA students were coming to us and asking to help them prepare for careers in strategy consulting. And their argument was that we do a great job in business schools, whether it's at HEC or other places in the world, of teaching frameworks, whether those frameworks are in finance or in strategy or in organizational behavior or operations. The challenge they had in strategy consulting, you're basically solving very complex problems. And what they were looking for was guidance on how to bring these frameworks to the entire problem-solving process. Well, I think the skill that we should be learning, that, especially in business schools, that we don't teach, at least formally, is the entire process of problem solving. And it's not just me who thinks this. If I look at recent data, for example, Financial Times every 2 years surveys recruiters of MBA students. And they ask these recruiters, what are the skills that you're most looking for when you recruit MBA students? Last year's survey said in the top 5 was complex problem solving. If you look at another survey that was done by Bloomberg Business Week, also of recruiters of MBA students, Bloomberg Business Week asked recruiters, what are the biggest skills gap? In other words, what are the skills that you really need and what are the skills that you aren't finding from MBA students? Number 2 on the list was complex problem solving. So we know this skill is valued, it's needed by organizations. We also know that recruiters are telling us that we as educators aren't doing a good enough job in helping people develop this skill set. Because as I said earlier, what we're, I think, very good at in business schools is giving frameworks, giving theories, giving tools. But because of the organization of business schools, because we're siloed into these departments of strategy, finance, and so on, we don't see the bigger picture. And we have a coordination problem in terms of trying to get together as a faculty and say, we want to teach the problem-solving process, which means that's going to cut across these different silos. And getting academics to cooperate and coordinate, as you know, can be quite problematic.
Here's one dealing with critical thinking.
A 2014 survey of 400 employees showed that 91% of individuals believe critical thinking is an important part of being successful in the workplace. On the flip side of this, does this mean a lack of critical thinking could hinder your success in your job? Well, we're afraid so, Aluxer. But don't worry, in today's video, we'll take a look at 15 ways to develop your critical thinking skills. So let's jump right in. Welcome to alux.com, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. Number 1, question assumptions. There's no denying it. We assume quite a number of things as humans. We assume things about our workplace, about our relationships, and most importantly, about ourselves. A cheeky quote says, "When you assume, you make an ass out of you and me." While this might be quite a funny way to put it, it does ring true. Making assumptions reduces the chances of innovation, but when you question these assumptions, it spirals into an extensive critical thinking process, which more often than not tends to lead to innovative ideas. Questioning your assumptions helps you to critically assess everything you think you know, which in itself is a great tool for developing your critical thinking. Number 2, become self-aware. When you become more self-aware, it simply means you've become more aware of your values, your thought processes, your personality, and your morals. But did you also know that in becoming self-aware, you're simultaneously developing your critical thinking skills? That's right. As you objectively think about what defines your personality, your likes and dislikes, strengths and weaknesses, goals and dreams, you're honing your critical thinking skills. Becoming self-aware will also help you to see the need to develop those critical thinking skills.
The last one I'd like to look at deals with communications.
The ability to write clearly and effectively for specific audiences is essential to managing your career. But writing to communicate on the job is different than writing for school. It's about being professional, productive, and building relationships. We asked Mario Jacobacci, a partner at Deloitte, what they look for in recruits.
Writing is critical and communications in general is critical in doing advisory work. I think you probably understand that also from school.
But what is good writing? It starts by focusing on two things, the what and the how. When it comes to the what, persuasive writers consider their audience in terms of necessary information and context. Necessary is what your audience needs to have a basic understanding of the issue, and not TMI, too much information. Many people think the more details they provide, the clearer their message. But your reader wants to get to the point fast, which is why TMI becomes a barrier. Ask yourself what your audience needs to know and cut everything else.
By and large, these videos do a fine job of focusing the viewer on the importance of soft skills and the means by which to develop them. You may take issue with some of what they have to say based on your own experience, but that doesn't detract from the overall goal. If you have access to videos or other material that you believe better addresses a particular soft skill, I beseech you to add it to the mix. There's one last video I'd like to bring to your attention, which is near and dear to my heart. It's called Entrepreneurship, which is not to be confused with entrepreneurship. Let's take a look.
Hello, everyone. This is Dave Deese, and welcome to 5 Minute Pro Dev, where I get to share with you some professional development skills. In this video, we're going to talk about entrepreneurism in the workplace. So what is an entrepreneur? Typically, it's someone who starts a business. That's what we think of as somebody who's going to start a business. They take most of the risk and reap most of the rewards or enjoy most of the benefit. So that's typically the definition of an entrepreneur. In this video, we don't want to talk about necessarily starting a business. We want to talk about how to behave like an entrepreneur in your workplace and what the benefits are. It's more like an intrapreneur. So an intrapreneur is the name we've given in our industries that says you're going to own the job. It's going to be your job, your work, and it's almost like you're a business person on the job. So we're really talking more about intrapreneur. It's the act of behaving like an entrepreneur while working within an organization. You may not own the business, but you own the job. You're being paid by an organization to do a certain job. So take ownership of that. And by doing that, you're really defining being an entrepreneur within the business. And what's really great about that is it's where innovation comes from. Because you're owning the job, you're taking responsibility, you're going to find innovative ways to make things happen. And it really can start simply by thinking differently. You work for yourself and your family, you report to management. In other words, you know that when you go to work every day, you're working for yourself, you're supporting your family by doing so, and your manager is who you report to. What are the advantages for that? Well, to the place that you work, it's where innovation comes from. You're going to be more innovative, come up with new ideas. And that's going to help you to develop new products, new services, new ways of doing things. And it also brings out the leadership in you. It's really going to be seen as a leader. For you personally, it's going to help you advance your career because you're going to be seen as that leader and that innovator. You own the job. You're taking that responsibility. Employers love that. Employers love it when somebody takes ownership because it leads to responsibility for that job. And again, you are going to be seen as a leader, not just by your work, but by coworkers and by the people that you serve. So what are the characteristics of an intrapreneur? Typically, they're self-motivated. They don't have to have somebody pushing them, and they do not like to be micromanaged. I know what has to get done. I'm going to do this for me, for my family, and for my place of business. I'm proactive, meaning that you don't wait for something to happen. You're not reactive, you're proactive. You're action-oriented. You see solutions, you act on them. So that makes you an action-oriented person. And another characteristic of an entrepreneur are people who have leadership skills and think differently than everybody else who's on the job. Typically, that's what makes a leader.
Very interesting. And particularly interesting to me because that's what I considered myself throughout my career. Was never interested in being an entrepreneur, but very much interested in acting like an entrepreneur. And it paid big dividends. What excites me most of all about the impact of these videos is their ability to stimulate thought and conversation. The kind of conversation that can easily find its way into the discussions section of Canvas. Mentors have an opportunity to take issue with points that are made in these videos or support those points that have made a positive difference in their own career pursuits. There's no limit to the number of case studies we could create or debates we could engage in, given a mentor's reaction to what these videos have to offer based on their own professional experience. Mentees would likely have questions of their own that would benefit from a group discussion. One-on-one mentoring relationships will forever be the mainstay of BMP, but the community of mentors we've assembled and the new tools at our disposal, like Canvas, provides a unique opportunity for each of us to make better use of our collective wisdom. Before going any further, allow me to introduce my colleague and dear friend, Casey Thomas, whom I affectionately refer to as Cuz, as in cousin. It was Casey who taught me how to manipulate Canvas and bend it to the will of BMP. None of what I've shown you in Canvas would exist were it not for Casey. As if that contribution wasn't enough, I've asked Casey to show you how to manipulate the discussion section of Canvas to engage fellow mentors and mentees in conversations that have potential to benefit the entire BMP population. I would do it myself, but I don't know how. I confess to being an analog guy living in a digital world. So without further ado, I give you Associate Director and Graduation Specialist, Casey Thomas. Casey, take it away.
Well, hello, BMP mentors and mentees, and thank you, Cousin Mike, for such a glamorous introduction. I am so honored and pleased with what we have accomplished thus far. We have truly created a dynamic and professional resource using the innovations of the Canvas platform. Now, this brings us to the discussion feature of Canvas. Canvas provides an integrated system for discussion threads, allowing both mentors and mentees the ability to start and contribute to as many discussion topics as desired. Within discussions, you can create, edit, and delete discussion topics. You can also reply to, edit, and delete individual discussion posts. You can subscribe to a discussion and be notified of replies, and you can add course content directly from the community room. You can delay discussion posts until a defined date, pin discussion threads that you want seen at the top of the discussion page, and you can add or embed attached files, images, and videos. To get started, click Discussions on the navigation panel located on the left-hand side of the screen. Then click the Discussions button at the top right of the screen. Be sure to give your discussion a topic title. This will be seen on the top of the main page. In the large text box, start the discussion off with instructions, a prompt, a reading, or other discussion starter. This text box can include rich content. So you may include links, embed videos, and images to create your discussion post. After you are satisfied with your content, scroll to the bottom of the page to save and publish your discussion post. Now let's put our basic knowledge of discussions to work. Let's assume you read an article that you wanted to share with the participants of the Canvas community room. Where would you start? Simply click on the Discussions tab on the left-hand side of your screen. Now that you have clicked on the Discussions tab, click on the Add Discussion button to the right-hand side of the screen. From here, you want to give your discussion a topic title. In this case, I will title it Leadership Article. I want to embed a link to an external document, so I will click on the link icon and then click External Link. From here, I will provide the link and also the text that I would like displayed. Click Done. Now the article should be shared with the participants of the Canvas community room. By clicking on the link, it should take you to an external article online. Now that you've embedded your link, you can add text. For my example, I'll add a little text from the actual article by either typing it or copy and pasting. Then I'll type, share your thoughts. And at the bottom, click Save. Now you can see that our article is posted. And if you want, your participants can reply. The article was great. Thank you for sharing. You can literally type anything you would like into the body of this message and hit reply. Now let's put our basic knowledge to the test one more time. In this discussion post, we will add an image or a picture to our discussion. So we start by clicking on Discussions on the left-hand side of the screen. Then click Add Discussion button on the right-hand side of the screen. We want to give our discussion topic a title. In this case, I titled it Mentoring Picture. Now we want to go to the image icon and select Upload Image. From here, we will click on the Upload Image in the middle of the screen and select the image that we would like to share. And there we have it. Now click Submit. Again, from here, we can add text, maybe to prompt a question, or you can simply just share the image. Click Save. And reply. Love the image. Now to see all of the discussions that are posted, we would go back and click on Discussions. And here we have it, the leadership article and the mentoring picture. The opportunities are endless in the discussion feature. You can treat it like a bulletin board or chat box. You can share or not share, reply or not reply, but just please be respectful and mindful of your audience. Keep topics related to the content of this Canvas community room. I hope you've enjoyed our tutorial.
Great job, Casey. Thank you. Even I should be able to navigate the discussion section in Canvas after viewing your tutorial. And for those mentors who, like me, feel threatened by systems like Canvas, take comfort in knowing that your mentees are well equipped to assist you. As mentioned before, there's no limit to the number of productive conversations to be held in the discussions section of Canvas. Here are just a few examples. 1. You are a mentee currently working in corporate America, but attempted to change jobs or start your own business. You would like to hear from mentors who have gone through that process and discuss the various pros and cons as well as the do's and don'ts. 2. You will graduate in the spring with a degree in business administration and can't decide whether to get your master's degree or start your career with a Fortune 500 company who's offering an attractive starting salary and major benefits. You'd like to hear differing opinions and points of view and the logic behind them from people who have gone through that thought process. 3. You've seen something in a complex problem-solving video that resembles a job-related experience you successfully managed, or you have a tried and true networking strategy that you would like to share with the group. I think you get my point. One-on-one mentoring relationships can be enhanced when they are occasionally exposed to the considered opinions of the BMP community at large. I encourage both mentors and mentees to take intelligent advantage of the discussion section of Canvas. In closing, I should visit or revisit the modules section of Canvas and call your attention to the last item listed, Florida Ready to Work. Designed to help students develop the soft skills necessary to attract Florida employers, the Florida Ready to Work soft skills solution features highly interactive digital training focused on in-demand employability skills, including professionalism, communicating effectively, teamwork, collaboration, thinking critically, and problem solving. Each fully narrated module includes a pretest, direct instruction, and a post-test to measure learning gains. Embedded practice and decision tree activities engage learners and reinforce understanding the concepts. A 1-hour online proctored assessment validates mastery of skills. Those who pass the assessments earn the Florida Ready to Work Soft Skills Credential or Digital Badge, which is issued by the state of Florida and signed by the governor. To learn more about the Florida Ready to Work program, students should use the module to request access or contact FAU's Career Center. Whether as a mentor or mentee, I truly hope that the inclusion of the Canvas platform helps you to maximize your mentoring efforts. If you have any questions or comments related to its use, please don't hesitate to let me know. We are committed to improving upon the BMP experience and will not rest until we are demonstrably best in class. I appreciate your continued support.